how did, your time from, I guess, getting into lifting early and then starting to realize that thing that you're talking about, that this was something that was fully under your realm? Success or fail only had to do with you and your effort, and it didn't tie to your parents or entitlement or any of these other type of things.
It totally shaped everything about my life currently.
And then
the fact that
did that apply to the military? Well,
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I went, I don't like heights. I'm afraid of heights. I remember
you telling me that about jumping. You're like, I fucking hate it every time.
Every single time. I hated jumping every single time just because I don't like heights.
How many times have you jumped?
21 times.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And they were all static line jumps, not like the cool ones you see in the movies.
Not the cool ones.
Not the cool ones that Tom Cruise is doing in Mission Impossible. These are the ones that Band of Brothers do. Where you're going at like 800 feet AGL, like very close to the ground.
Fuck.
Super lame. You don't have a whole lot of time if something goes
There's no
wrong.
enjoyment.
Not really, man. You get ground. I mean, just the anxiety about it, like I just don't like heights to begin with. And the fact that I was in a leadership position and I'm around soldiers that are looking at me that
don't like heights.
They don't. And it's easy to be, to show fear in those situations where like, naturally a lot of humans are afraid of heights, but you have to suppress that because you're an officer and these are all your soldiers, or these are soldiers in your battalion that your reputation as a leader could be permanently tarnished if if you're just looking like a pussy.
Sure.
Don't you ever dare
don't flinch.
Yeah, exactly. You got to just have a poker face. And that's like, that's the being able to control those basic human fears and anxiety about being, 1,000 feet off the ground and not liking heights, that goes back to.
Well, but what are everyone's big fears, right? The public speaking.
Oh yeah.
And so it's this fear of being found out or too much light or any of that. And that's the same fear that translates into that.
It all comes out as
leadership role.
Yeah.
It's that like, I'm aware that other people are watching.
For sure.
And how do you perform in that stress?
Yeah.
And then mix in real stress on top of that part. Like there's no real stress for giving a speech.
No, it's all perceived.
Yeah, there's no danger.
Yeah, nobody's going to cut your little finger off.
No, it's never going to happen.
If you mess up one of your
maybe
consonants.
Different speech. Not any of the ones I've had to give.
Yeah.
But there's real danger with jumping out of a fucking airplane.
There is.
There's more than giving a speech.
There's definitely more, yeah. Some people have gotten seriously hurt, and a few people have been.
Very few have been
killed.
Well, some have given speeches, but I guess weird scenario. Usually from bullets as well.
True. Yeah, but just seeking out those challenges, like, going infantry as an officer, going to an airborne unit. There were expectations, like you have to be Ranger qualified as a lieutenant to show up and take a platoon and be a platoon leader. So I dedicated myself to, becoming what I would need to become mentally and physically to be successful at that challenge. So I had to, learn small unit tactics. I had to, so that required studying, and it required, being out in the field and getting experience, leading people who are tired, leading people who are hungry, leading people who are turned inward, so you have to use a lot of that self-leadership and apply it to coax out the effect you're trying to get out of 40 different guys.
Right.
40
it's
different
not the
people.
same. It's not the same tool in the toolbox for every human.
No, and exactly. So that's the thing that lifting. I mean, not just lifting, but yeah, I think again, like I said, being pulled out of the matrix, learning that I had control over my environment, and learning that self-awareness at such an early age, I think, has been tremendous. Tremendously valuable in my life.
And I think what you're talking about there is a really, really important leadership trait that gets missed. And I think a lot of people want to look at leaders as this driving force, this fucking hammer, right? This tip of the spear.
Yeah.
But what leaders to me, and I've always respected leaders to me were the guys that were able to get everyone on board without their ego being what we're following.
Dude, take this for example. This is from Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, ego suppression and a validating statement. So as a manager of people or a salesman or a leader, I could go to you and try to get you on board with my idea by communicating it to you in a way that it makes you feel like this was authentically your idea.
Yeah, of course.
And that you get credit for it.
Perfect.
So ultimately, if I don't care who gets credit for it, but I just need the organization to move in that direction, why would I ever inhibit you from thinking that was your idea and for you getting
I feel
credit?
this way all the time.
Yeah, right?
Like I mean, as a book, I've picked up and glanced over a few times because I'll catch a concept and be like, yeah, of course.
A lot of it is just innate.
It's reaffirming a lot of things I already have done and figured out naturally. But yeah, that's like, to me, like that's the goal of leadership. The goal of leadership is to get performance out of your guys.
Absolutely.
And whatever that carrot is that those dudes chase, that's your goal to figure out. And then to figure out, is that a carrot you're willing to offer?
Yeah. That is a truly, that is the challenge with, especially military leadership, because really for combat arms jobs like, artillery and infantry and armor, specifically because like a lot of these jobs are putting soldiers and Marines in positions where like as soon as they start to turn inward, they can really compromise the overall mission.
Well, I bet, right? So you're a little less focused. You're
right. So getting guys like, man, if you're in another specialty where your field is, information technology or some other aspect of the military or some other aspect of an organization, like a technical role, there's a manual that tells you exactly how that piece of machinery operates optimally, right?
Sure.
And if you're a manager of people, you need to be able to understand what drives 18-year-old Matt Vincent, who grew up with his older brother Andy playing football and grew up with his specific parents and had these impressions from these people in his life to get him to perform optimally. You need to be able to coach and mentor, and being aware of those, of those things within yourself, I think is the first. Like again, I'm reiterating a point that you've already made multiple times.
Yeah.
Could not agree more. Being able to identify it in your own life and appreciate it is the first step in being able to elicit the same thing from another person.
That I know that you're in control of this. It's convincing people too that like you're not in the passenger seat, man. You don't have to be along for this ride. You can make all the decisions and turn right and left whenever you want. What you have to also accept with that is all of the consequences.
Yeah. And that's not easy whenever you can fail. A lot of people don't want that because it hurts.
Fuck, man, you can fail on the standard one.
You're going to fail all the
thing.
time. Yeah.
That's the thing, though. Yeah. That's the fucking lie, is that the idea that we'll just call it the standard life path, right? Yeah. And there's plenty of people doing it that are pumped. I don't think most people in it are fucking sheep and unhappy and just going through the motion. I think most people are fine. But I think there are people that find themselves just stuck, that are like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, I wanted to do this, or I wanted to do that, or I had thoughts of this. And whether you excuse yourself from following those dreams it's too late. Yeah. Like, what a fucking lie that is. Right? Because when's a great time to plant a tree? Well, 20 years ago. And when's the next best time? Right fucking now.
Right now. Today.
And so, like, if you can let go of any weird sentimental value of time invested or energy invested.
Or time lost. The regret of time lost.
I'm not throwing good time at bad anymore.
Right. And the second you break that cycle, you've regained some time, in fact, because you're no longer stuck overanalyzing something that is not getting you any closer to what end you're trying to achieve anyway.
It's like I just want to use my rear view mirror to look at data, not emotions.
Right. Yeah.
Or at least not let the emotions back there decide what direction I want to continue forward. I just want data to pick left or right ahead. Or if you want to go against it, you can.
Yeah.
But you don't get both. If you want to choose a thing that's an obvious shit route and an obvious really hard task and an obvious super big risk, you can. I want you to. If that's what you want, go for it. But you get all of those consequences. And you have to own it. You have to own that too. That's how it works.
You know as well as anybody the security that comes with having, a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Job
Man.
with a career track, like a natural career progression.
Well, in that line of work, I had damn near doubled my income every 2 years. And I mean, I think, that would have capped off at some point.
Sure. But I mean, that's you're able to financially plan and have some predictability with your life and kind of the life trajectory you're on.
Yeah. It took me.
It's comforting. It's a comforting thing to have in your life when you have that. And a lot of people, when they get these parts of their lives that are predictable, it's hard for them to let go and do something that is different.
Oh, yeah. It's
Very
really
hard.
tough because there's a lot of identity that gets built in.
Yes.
There's a lot of identity that gets built in. And like, I totally, that was something that I couldn't quite understand as a kid, was like this empty nest syndrome thing. Like this idea that, that parents, as soon as the kids move out, like they fucking panic because they don't know what to do anymore. And I was like, what do you fucking mean? Now you have all the free time. You can do whatever
anything you want. Yeah.
Except if part of the identity you've built to why you're not doing all of these exciting things is because of you being held back by kids. And then now there's not a barrier anymore, and you have to just admit you don't want to do those things. That's fucking tough.
Man, having kids.
But it's okay to just be like, I thought I wanted to do this. I don't.